Unknown Mortal Orchestra's story is one of those internet viral moments that you sometimes hear about. The main artist behind the project, Ruben Nielsen, originally from New Zealand, had moved to Portland, Oregon to pursue a career in illustration after leaving some of his earlier musical projects behind. A lifelong insomniac, he would go on his basement at night and play and record with tape machines, drums, and weird guitar sounds all the time. Ruben recalls how he was just making the music that he wanted to hear that he couldn't find anywhere else. He wanted it to sound like it was music from an old archive or some unreleased old album, experimenting with tape and sounds, trying to make it sound like it was from a different era, like someone had gone back in time and found this record. After a while, one of these tracks was uploaded to Bandcamp under the name Unknown Mortal Orchestra. If I recall the story correctly, the day after that, the song landed on a Pitchfork playlist, and it subsequently blew up all over the internet, being shared and posted on different blogs, while nobody really knew who the band was or who played in it. Ruben began to receive calls from record labels to release a full album, and he ended up in the middle of a bidding war between 4 labels. They wanted to listen to more songs and wanted to know when and where the band was playing gigs. But Ruben didn't even have a band. He managed the unknown obscure persona for a while, but before 6 months he already had put together a band and was ready to tour and release his new music. He said it all felt very surreal and that he was waiting to wake up on a hospital bed from a dream or something. But listening to the album, it all seems quite understandable. UMO's debut album is an amazing collection of weird, catchy tunes, with fuzzy guitars and hints of Syd Barrett and other psychedelic acts, but paired with dirty, boom-bop drum beats and a very special feel for melody and harmony. The album cover is an old building in Yugoslavia. It's an old post-World War II monument that is really run down. Ruben liked the idea of this mysterious building that you don't know what it is or where it is, but it's from the past, built for the future, and is now in disrepair. He said that it seemed to match the music, and that's how the cover came about. All the drums from the album were recorded with just an SM58 into tape and then chopped into beats and breaks. Ruben would record on tape and then go through pedals for modulation and effects and then bring back these sounds into Pro Tools for mixing, creating a very unique and crafted drum sound, lo-fi but with a lot of character and punch. I love how the toms sound on the song Jello and Juggernauts. Ruben's guitar playing is also a bit eccentric and unique. He handpicks and arpeggiates most of the time, and his guitar lines jump a lot between a bass line and a melody that develops on top. Although most of his crafty and more special guitar work will develop later on the follow-up album too. A recurring thing on this and later albums is how Ruben locks his guitar with his vocal melodies. The chorus of the song Funny Friends is an example. And also Bicycle. Although not many, this album has some great guitar solos. They feel very loose and jammy, but are concise and very explosive at the same time. Check this out. And this one's one of my favorites. The vocals are usually a couple of tracks stacked together, working to create a very psychedelic and textured vocal sound, and also mixing high-pitched falsetto with his natural voice. I'm a smiling alligator, and I tell lies that ring true later. So much there when we deflator. Some of the chord progressions and harmonies also ring like classical tonal harmony in a very weird way. Listen to Jello and Juggernauts and see if you get what I'm trying to point out. worth mentioning that Ruben played all the instruments on the album, including drums and bass. Although Ruben later admitted he didn't know how to properly play bass and got Jacob Portrait, the band's new bass player at the time, to record on the following albums, bringing a ton of personality and much more interesting and moving bass lines. That aside, the bass line on How Can You Love Me kicks ass. I'd say nice effort for a non-bass player, Ruben. All in all, UMO's self-titled debut is an amazing album, and really a sort of preview for the great potential in songwriting and sound design that the band had, and that would later be taking into new heights with their sophomore album too. Which for me, it's their best album to date, and for sure one of the best albums of the last decade. But what do you think of this album, and what's your favorite UMO album? Let me know in the comments. And if you liked the video, please hit the like button, and if you want to see more videos like this, hit subscribe, and I'll see you another time.